Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees survived Game 1 there, a thrilling seesaw matchup, 6-5 against the Royals, take the first game there, and a bit of a nail-biter there where you did not get a good start for Gerrit Cole, and the Yankees really got to consider themselves really lucky because when your ace does not give his best performance and gets knocked around a little bit, that's usually the game you lose. The fact that, he did not have his best stuff there, did get slapped around a bit, and the Yankees were able to survive and win that game. Really good signs for the Yankees, but the Yankees got to be counting their blessings on that one. Just a good for the Yankees at times they fell behind, didn't panic, just came right back there. And of course, Verdugo getting the big go-ahead hit later on in the game. And hey, look, he silenced myself and a lot of people that had doubts about him. Didn't really want him starting left field at all, but nevertheless he did. Gets the big hit that put the Yankees head 6-5 with Jazz coming in full steam there. And then Luke Weaver, for the first time doing this, looked just as steady as a Mariano Rivera there. Tough as nails, ice cold there, big 4-out save, impressive there, including 3 punch-outs, including a punch-out of the batting champion Bobby Witt Jr. there. So for his first time there, it looks like he's been doing this for 10, 15 years there. So good, solid win for the Yankees. We'll get into the whole thing, the good, the bad, the ugly, the decisions, the starting lineup, which is was a bit surprising to me. Before we do, make sure you're a podcast subscriber. This is why you want to be a podcast subscriber, and why it helps that there's a day off now between a lot of these games where we could drop some knowledge, drop some feedback on you after the game for you to soak in the day after, and then you go into the next game there. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast, and there's also the YouTube version of the show, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Make sure you subscribe there as well. So I guess we'll start out with the beginning of the day there. We weren't sure who's going to officially be on the roster. They released it early in the day, and to no great shock, they left Anthony Rizzo off. He was dealing with the fractured hand. They said, look, even if he was going to play in the series, it was doubtful, and if he would, he was going to have to play with pain. It just didn't seem like he was going to be a player for them. So he's out for the ALDS. They said if they go on to the next round, he could be a possibility, but I didn't think he was a possibility for here. And also left off the roster was Stroman, which that was trending today on Twitter. I don't know why. Between Clark Schmidt and Stroman, Schmidt has been throwing the ball much better lately, late in the season there. And what are you going to do with Stroman? He's not going to start one of these games. He's not a guy that throws 100 miles per hour that you're going to bring out of the bullpen. The only really purpose he would have is that if, let's say, you had an extra inning game where you unloaded all your pitches, like with both the Yankees and Royals, and you're in the 11th and 12th, 13th, you need someone who can give you multiple innings. All right, maybe Stroman could have done that. But if that's the case, you're probably going with Clark Schmidt for that. And other spot you would use Stroman is, let's just say Cole got knocked out in the first or second round and you need someone to give you, 3 or 4 innings. That would be a spot for Stroman. But again, of the 2 pitches, Clark Schmidt has been pitching better lately, so not shocked that Stroman's left off. But was surprised a bit was the starting lineup. Now, we all kind of figured that it was kind of 50-50 toss-up. I thought they should go with Jason Dominguez in left field, but nevertheless, Boone went with Verdugo for left field. Now, he's mainly doing that for defensive purposes. Again, I don't love it, but I at least can understand it. I'm okay with it. What I was a little bit surprised was Oswaldo Cabrera getting the start there at first base. Now, I know the played a little kind of handful of games there with the Yankees late in the season, doing that for a few innings here and there. I thought the start should go to Ben Rice. Now, look, Oswaldo's right. He didn't boot any balls. He didn't botch any balls. He made you sweat in a few plays where, Ron Darling mentioned this, where he wasn't positioning his body where an experienced first baseman would. Saved a couple of bad throws there, but again, didn't blow anything, didn't botch anything, but I thought it was a little bit of a risky move by Boone. We'll see if he continues that the rest of the way, but if there's a situation where, Cabrera messes something up at first base there, Boone's really sticking his neck out there in what could be his final season as a Yankee manager, but nevertheless, he at least held down the fort there. Nothing really happened with Cabrera, so he survived that one. But by starting him, though, you're also losing his ability to come off the bench late in the game as a pinch runner. And I guess that's why they had Duke Ellis up as well. So I guess Duke Ellis is giving the speed to throw off the bench. That's why you would then start Cabrera. Otherwise, Cabrera is usually a pinch runner off the bench there in those spots. And as I mentioned, Gerrit Cole, you just knew something was wrong with him in the first inning. Marseille almost with a home run to lead off the game. And even though, Cole didn't throw a lot of pitches there, but you just heard this with the TBS acoustics. The balls were tattooed hard there. And especially Bobby Witt Jr. sent a drive to center field, and Aaron Judge kind of flagging it down. Kind of looked like Curtis Granderson, covering a lot of ground for the big man, just to save, which probably would have been a double. And with his speed, if it bounced around a little bit, maybe even a triple there. But you kind of knew Cole was in trouble there, and then it would eventually come. The Chickens would come to their home roost there. Just with Cole, not many strikeouts. Again, he was in the middle of the plate the whole game. He was just getting slapped around left to right there. The Yankees are lucky that Cole did not look like himself at all, and he still escaped there with the win. And on the other side, Yankees, boosted a lot of opportunities. You're going to look at all the runners the Yankees left on base. First inning, second, third, you set up there, and then you get Judge striking out Wells with a hard hit ball to first base. Now, look, we've seen Gleyber Torres, who had himself a good game, really. He had himself a really good game, 2 walks, and the big 2-run home run there. But he got thrown out home there trying to score on a ground ball. Now, look, in that spot, in that situation, though, Torres did not make the bad decision because, if the infield's playing in, that's a different case. Balls hit to the first baseman, you can't go on third base. But when the first baseman is playing back like that, you have to go. It's a bang-bang play because Gurriel in that spot there, he has to make a flawless throw. If he hesitates, if he breathes the wrong way, he's not going to get Torres at second. That's what you hope for. You hope for a little blip, a little bloop, a little hesitation, and then you could score, just steal the run there. So in that situation, even though we've seen Torres make a ton of base running mistakes and bad decisions this season, again, why you pull your hair out with Gleyber Torres, yeah, he got nailed there, but it really wasn't his fault. He made the right decision. It just Gurriel had a great game and just killed the Yankees. Even at 40 years old, the Yankees don't cash in there. Eventually, go down 1-0, but then Gleyber Torres in his next bat come up. He didn't really get a good swing on the ball. Again, Yankees really square up too many good hits against Waka. A lot of them were just excuse me swings and just check swings that kind of went halfway, and the Yankees just got some lucky bloops and bounces in there, especially the Soto double, first inning there. Again, he was 0-2 there, and he did not take a good hack at all, but just got lucky. He just got enough piece of it on the bat there, and just went into left field and dunked in right in front of the foul line there. So Gleyber Torres, again, didn't really get a piece of wood on it, but it's Yankee Stadium, it's right field, and right on cue as Ron Darling, the Met play-by-play guy, and Bob Costas just hammering over the Yankee left field. I mean, ever since they opened up the new Yankee Stadium and, the Mets broadcasters, every time they come in, there's always complaining about how easy balls go out there, especially right field. Well, right on cue, Gleyber Torres gives the Yankees the 2-1 lead there. But then again, Cole, and you knew this was going to happen. With 2 outs there, and you just knew it, with Gurriel, couldn't put him away. It was like a 12-pitch at bat, ends up walking him. You just knew the next guy was going to hit a home run. Of course, Melendez on cue hits a home run over the wall. Again, Yankee Stadium right field. Again, probably other places not a home run, but of course, the Yankee Stadium right field. They retake the lead at that point, 3-2. Now, the Yankees eventually would go ahead. Really, the big story of the game, I guess, would probably be the Royals bullpen and just the number of walks they issued. And of course, that big inning there with the Yankees, getting 2 big walks there by Judge to load the bases, and then, of course, Wells with the big walk there, at least give the Yankees a lead at a certain point there. But that should have been a situation where the Yankees should have scored a lot more there. It should have been a big inning there, because then afterwards, you got Stanton, who was atrocious this whole game there, and we'll get into him in a second. Him and Jazz obviously do nothing after that, and the Yankees squander an opportunity. Their bases loaded. They really should have put a crooked number. That should have been the end of the game right there. But the Yankees bats, just came up short. What they say with the ducks on the pond there. But again, the story of the game was the Royals bullpen probably more, issuing the number of walks to the Yankees, and the Yankees just able to take advantage enough. And of course, just getting back to Stanton for a little bit, he actually cost the Yankees 2 runs. There was one situation where he did get a walk, get on, and Oswaldo Cabrera with a double there. Now, any other player probably would be able to score that, because with 2 outs, you're running on contact. But even with that, at best, he was only able to go from first to third base. And again, any other player probably would have scored there in that spot. So he cost the Yankees a run there, because then afterwards, Verdugo made out after that. That was the end of that. And then another spot in the game with a runner on third. Stanton hit a bit of a chopper to third base. Perez had to dive for it, and he was kind of on the floor a little bit. And again, it took a lot of time for him to get up and throw. Again, probably any other baseball player is probably safe at first. But of course, it's Stanton. He gets nicked out by a nose because he's Stanton, because he can't run hard, because if he runs hard, he'll tear his Achilles and his hamstring. So you don't want him running hard. But those are 2 spots there, because there was a runner on third. If Stanton would have been called out first, safe at first base, the run would have scored. So that's 2 spots there that Stanton cost the Yankees runs. It's funny how the whole conversation was, well, do you put Verdugo in left field, or you put Jason Dominguez in? Now, again, I wanted Jason Dominguez, and probably 95% of Yankee fans wanted Dominguez out there. Again, I can understand why Boone went with Verdugo and maybe the sure-handed defense. It is the playoffs. You don't want no balls dropping in. You don't want to give any free plays out. You don't give any outs away. So I could understand that more than him putting Oswaldo Cabrera there at first base. Again, Cabrera, luckily for Boone, nothing happened bad with Cabrera. He made all the plays, but he made you sweat a little bit. And again, especially those times he had to extend his foot off the base a little bit, where, if his toe just came off an inch there, a couple of runs would have been called safe there. So really the conversation maybe should be moving forward, DH. I mean, do you put Jason Dominguez as the DH, or do you just continue to go with Stanton, who... Okay, his last at bat, he finally looked decently. I mean, pitcher going up against a guy throwing 100 miles per hour. He fouled off some tough pitches, and he actually looked good there. But the bats previously to that, he looked horrible. I know he got a walk there, but Stan did not look good at this game at all. So maybe stick with Verdugo, who got the big hit in this game, late in the game. And not only that, when Cole was struggling there, pop up to between third and left field there. Now, Verdugo made the catch. initially in fair territory. The ball rolled out of his glove a little bit, then he barehanded it and able to secure the ball for the out there. But that was a big spot because Royals was threatening to, maybe put a few more runs up there, and then Cole again was definitely on the ropes. So Verdugo come up with a big play, and then would have Jason Dominguez made that big play? I don't think so. So I got to give credit Boone there in that spot. Again, Verdugo came up big, not only that defensively, but later in the game got that big hit going opposite field to score Jazz there. And I guess we'll get into the whole Jazz replay thing. So he was on first base with a leadoff hit single there. Now he went to steal second. It was a hit run there, 3-2. Volpe swung. Volpe actually took a big walk early in the game too, so I'm not going to totally kill him there. But he did have a big error that ended up costing the Yankees 2 runs there. But let me not jumping all over the place on this one here. But in the spot, swinging on 3-2 there, he swung at a ball way over his head. Should have held up. Would have been ball 4. You would have had man on first and second there in the 7th inning with nobody out there, and then you probably could have had a bigger inning for yourself. But nevertheless, he strikes out. Perez with the throw to second. That was way high. Massey comes down, able to snap the tag on Chaz there. Now, initially they called Jazz safe. The Royals requested the replay there. And then, of course, on the telecast, Ron Darling and Bob Costas, at least Ron Darling was more convinced that the call would be overturned because it looked like maybe the tag came down on the top of Jazz's foot before his heel got in there. But I actually thought that, Ron Darling said there was daylight between the bag and the heel. I didn't see any daylight, so I just think Jazz's foot just turned to the left a little bit. I think his heel did hit the bag before the glove came down on the top of the foot there. So I didn't think the call would be overturned there. But of course, when you hear that, obviously Ron Darling's been doing this a million years, so you're kind of scared that this way he was so confident it would be overturned, but it wasn't the case. The run remained there, and then Verdugo comes up and big spot there. Hey, look, we've all been criticizing him. He hasn't had a great season with the bat. Again, everyone wanted Jason Dominguez there in left field, but he came through and the big clutch hit. Jazz, running on 2 outs, full speed ahead there, scores easily, and he comes away with the 6-5 win there. And then really at that point, you ready to use Clay Holmes earlier in the game, and you got to give him credit, an inning and 2/3, and he actually ended up getting the win. That's someone that Yankee fans did not want to see come out of the pen. And I mentioned with Boone that, I wasn't completely sure, in previous episode that, he may go back to Clay Holmes in the 9th inning, or you might say Clay Holmes in a big spot. I didn't think they all just might mix and match, and it's like whatever's the important inning or whatever I need to use this weapon now, I'm going to use him. Boone used him very early, probably than he would anticipated using this, just because Cole's struggling there, and you need to get outs, and you got to stop the bleeding. All right, we know Holmes has his issues there, but when he's on, he can also be effective. And Holmes again was brilliant in his inning and 2/3 work. But Luke Weaver, kind of the last question there is how he's going to handle this. Again, got handed the closer role in September. So far, so good in the handful of games he closed for the Yankees in September, but this is obviously a different story. And you just look at him, he looks like a 10-year-old boy. And it's like, all right, is this 10-year-old boy in front of 48,000 fans with a 1-run lead only, and you got basically the top of the Royals order coming up? How are you going to handle that? So he did get out. Boone going to him early there, so I want to go ahead a little too ahead of myself. Got the last out of the 8th inning because Canely got 2 quick outs, but then afterwards issuing a walk, and then I guess, Boone didn't want to mess around. I get in that spot there, just wanted to go right for the jugular, so did the right thing, did it Mariano Rivera style, multiple inning save, getting Maceda may strike out a ball underneath his hand there. The big bat against Bobby Witt Jr. I guess Cole and Gurriel was probably maybe the biggest battle of the night there, because that just dragged on forever, and Gurriel won that one. I guess the second big battle of the night, maybe not as long as Cole. The Weaver, Bobby Witt Jr. showdown there went on for a while. Foul ball, and then Weaver gets a low strike call on fastball, which his other guys he put away, they were all in the fastball, so I don't know why he was going with that changeup a lot there, and you just saw Bobby Witt Jr. yank it into the stands there a little bit, but then eventually put him away at the fastball. It seemed that low fastball was just like a laser, 97 miles per hour there, and I thought it was a strike. I know Witt Jr. didn't like it, but the Yankees got a couple low strikes called on them as well like that, so I thought it was fair on both sides there. Not going to complain about the umpire. I'm sure a lot of Royal fans would. I'm sure a lot of Royal fans are going to complain about that call, again, the Jazz stolen base there that wasn't overturned there, but again, I thought Jazz's foot and heel was in there, and this was a game totally left on the field. I know just because the Yankees won, but I don't think the umpires cost anything. I don't think any of the calls were atrocious. Yeah, a couple of strikes here and there were atrocious, but it was on both sides. Yankees got a couple of breaks. The Royals got a couple of breaks, so I thought it was even-handed. But that low strike on Bobby Witt Jr., that was, again, I think whether it was Bob Costas or Darling said the same thing. I mean, they called basically the same low strike on Soto just a frame before that. So, hey, I think it was fair on both sides there. And, again, Weaver, very impressive. And the Yankees get a ground out, coincidentally, ironically, Oswaldo Cabrera, but a very slow roller there to first base, where maybe even me on my best day, I could have secured that and got the win there. So Yankees hold on for the 6-5 win there. You didn't want to lose this game, obviously, because it's a best-of-5 series and shorter, but you're looking at Cole Reagan's coming back probably a little earlier than we all expected there. Tough left-hander. A left-hander against the Yankees is going to be rough, especially in Yankee Stadium. So you did not want to be behind 0-1 and have to face Cole Reagan's there. So there's a couple ways you can look at that. So you can see that angle of it, but also the angle that you felt that, the Yankees could have won this game much, quote-unquote, sooner. I mean, you had the 2 runners on in the first inning there, second and third, nobody out. You can't even get 1 run there. And then, of course, later when the Yankees had the big inning, I know they would eventually tie the game up there and, again, had the walk-a-thon. But that's a situation where, again, the Yankees left a lot of runners on base there, through the first, 5 innings there, where you figure, all right, you know what? The Yankees were off this whole week. Maybe some of the batters were rusty. Maybe Judge is a bit rusty there. The Royals coming hot and fresh. And at best, the Royals able to maybe do is just walk away with a 6-5 loss there. So if you're the Yankees, maybe you feel, all right, now we get a game on the belt. We got the adrenaline pump a little bit. We got the action there. Now we'll start squaring up the ball a little bit better on the bats there. So if you're the Yankee players, you could take away and say, look, we weren't at our best. Cole wasn't at his best. Yet with all that being said, we come away with a 6-5 win. So maybe that's the angle, that's the mind frame you want to have as a Yankee fan. But a thrilling game, a good game, back and forth seesaw. No team had more than a 2-run lead there. And, yes, again, don't forget about Mr. Volpe. He needs to get put in the bad boy corner there. So he had a ground ball to him at shortstop. Now, he was throwing from his knees there. Now, maybe he should have took the out at first base. But, of course, in that spot, he was maybe panicking a little bit. He wanted to turn the crazy double play. Throw the ball past Torres, covering second base there. The ball goes into right field. So now you have runners in second and third there. Now, Boone draw the infield in, which kind of, again, textbook, I guess you figure you do that in that spot. Now, next guy, Hampson, pinch hitting. Hits a ground ball up the middle. Now, in normal situations, if you didn't have the infield played in, that was hit right in the shortstop hole. I mean, Volpe would have had that in his normal position. He could have walked to second base, stepped on the bag, and thrown to first, and you would have been out of the game. But unfortunately, with the infield drawn in, which again, it's an unusual thing, Hampson able to hit a single through the shortstop hole, scores 2 runs there. So again, that was almost like 2 gift runs you gave to the Royals, again, thanks to Volpe's throwing error in there. So again, that's another way you look at it. That, hey, look, we didn't have a good game by Cole. We also spotted you guys 2 runs with a sloppy throw like that. So, maybe that makes the Yankees or the Yankee fans feel a bit more confident. I don't know, but worth mentioning. So again, moving forward, they're going to probably have Stanton in the lineup game 2. Yeah, just because you're not going to disrespect him. He has the resume. You're paying him a ton of money. But, you just see a situation where by not having someone who could run normally, it cost you 2 runs. If you could have the scrubbiest of scrub players, you could have, instead of Stanton there, if you just had you could have Duke Ellis there running the bases, the Yankees would have 2 extra runs there. So maybe you consider, I don't know, probably not though, because Reagan's is a left-hander, so you probably the right-handed Stanton's going to get the start. But again, maybe you consider, all right, we'll stick with Verdugo in left field, but we're going to go with Jason Dominguez, who's a switch hitter, so he could hit righty as well if need be, versus Stanton. Because, again, Stanton, if you can't run there, I mean, it's an embarrassment. Or possibly what you maybe see, maybe Verdugo gets the day off because he's a left-handed batter there against Reagan. So you put Dominguez, who could switch hit and hit right-handed. You put him in left field to start game 2, and you have Stanton there at the DH. So, again, Boone has a couple of options. I just have a feeling, though, Boone's going to value defense most of all. So you'll probably see Verdugo again in left field, and you'll probably see Stanton again at DH. And at first base, well, Ben Rice, as we know, he's a left-handed batter. So Oswaldo Cabrera, who's also a switch hitter, who could hit right-handed, so he'll also probably be your first baseman. Again, I don't love it. It looks uncomfortable. Nevertheless, he did make all the plays, so hey, look, I at least said, congratulate him on that. And one of the points I mentioned that, might be a little risky for the Yankees is Chaz at third base. They even said it, during the broadcast. He's only played third base this maybe about 40-something games for the Yankees there. Now, the ball was hit to him a few times, and there was that one by Perez there, but luckily it just took a good bounce for him, came up in the glove, otherwise it would have went under his glove. So he got tested a little bit, but again, same as Cabrera, he passed all his tests with flying colors. A few of his throws were offline a little bit, but Cabrera had to stretch and get it. But nevertheless, at least his first game there, Chaz did come through. Let's just see if he can remain there lock solid in first base. And also got to mention Soto also would have put out, which Royals they were gonna almost maybe put a crooked number up against Cole there. Perez, actually not the swiftest of runners there as a catcher, coming home. Soto able to throw him out from right field there, gun him out there. Now later in the inning, sacrifice fly, they able to at least put the first run on the board and go ahead 1-0 there. But that could have been a bigger inning against Cole if not for that throw by Soto there. So Soto kind of saved Cole's bacon, but unfortunately Cole eventually would wilter later on and would need to be yanked out there in the 6th inning. Again, he wasn't happy with it. Only had like 81 pitches there. So, but you could just see he just didn't have it. Only had like 2 strikeouts or whatever, and just all the stuff was in the middle of the plate. He just was not sharp at all. And again, just likely from the fact that guy hasn't pitching over a week and a half there. So you could do all the simulated games you want. You have all the simulated practice batters, stuff like that. But the real live action, it's just a totally different ball game. I expect Cole, barring he gets to pitch another game, probably game 4, that he would be much sharper, and they'll probably be on the road in Kansas City if that's the case. Hopefully we don't see a game 4, but it's always a possibility. So that's game 1 there. It was a nail biter. You had your doubts sometimes there, but the Yankees won the game 6-5, and I guess you just take solace that you didn't get a good start from Cole. The Yankees left a lot of ducks on the pond there. They could have probably put this game away early, but again, things looking good for the Yankees. You're uncomfortable with a few things. I'm not comfortable with Oswaldo Cabrera at first base, but he got through it. Not the most comfortable even with Jazz there, but look, so far he got through it. And again, Judge, does not have himself a good game. Hopefully, and he looked like the Judge of 2022, where he was just kind of swinging and missing, looking a little lost, and kind of just not himself there. So I don't know what it is about the postseason with him. So he's got to play better. I know he got a big walk in a big spot, swung and missed at a slider. Next pitch came in there. He learned his lesson. He laid off the slider, got the big walk there. So he contributed a little bit, and also got to give kudos to Wells. Big walk right after Judge to tie the game at that point, and then later on with a big hit, get a few runners in there, so a big clutch hit there. So Wells had himself a good game, called a decent game. Royals didn't have many runners on, so at least to throw there, so Wells didn't have to throw anybody out. But again, for his first postseason game there, Wells did pretty darn good for himself. And some of these other guys too, it's the first game. We didn't get to mention that Volpe, it's his first postseason game. He never did this before. I know Chaz Chisholm Jr., it was back in 2020 with the Marlins. That was the COVID year there. And the Marlins somehow made the playoffs, whatever. So he maybe did it for a cup of coffee, but that was during the bubble where it was empty stadiums and you're playing for the Miami Marlins. It's a little different story with 48,000 people Saturday night in the Bronx there. And I guess for his first game, came through, big hit, and then again getting on big steal, and of course the go-ahead run there. And you look at the Cashman move there again, one of the better pickups he's had of a position player, mid-season in recent years. And he came through for Cashman tonight. So good job by Jazz. And last man live again. Luke Weaver there, just looking like he's done this before. So I was holding my breath the whole way. I had no idea what to expect from him, but didn't bat an eye there. So if that's what Luke Weaver is, works for me. I'll sign up for it. Catch you game 2.